a huge, massive thank you for everybody's come along today. This, for me, is one of the things that Homeland Party is all about, that we can be in each other's company, feeling comfortable and relaxed, as if this was our homeland. And this is what we want. This is what we're fighting for. This is what we're trying to build. A place where we can leave our mobile phones lying about and you don't have to worry that somebody's going to nick it. That you can have a laugh and a joke and nobody's going to take offence to what you've said. And if they do, they brush it off after a few minutes. Because there's some really cutting things, kids. amongst friends, don't they? We have conversations that if you did it in some other environments, you go, shouldn't have said that. But your pals laughed off, your friends laughed it off, your neighbours laughed it off. We hear worse in every pub in the land because people are pissed off. They're not happy with the way the country's going. It's why you get elections where 35% of the people turn up and vote. And of that 35%, usually less than half of them vote for the person who's going to sit in a council or in the parliament deciding how you live your lives and the shape of our country. And they're doing that because 65% of people have decided they do not want to have a say. They do not have any faith in the people standing there and offering themselves on the ballot paper, and they reject the whole thing. And that's why we're in the mess we're in, because these people do not believe they've got a hope or a future or a say in the shaping of our country. And what we're doing in the Homeland Party is radical and it's different, because we're trying to win the support of these people by being positive influences in our community, by being the good people we are and being proud of who we are and standing up and saying, here I am, I'm a nationalist, I believe in this community and I want to make your lives better. And already in just over a year of our existence, in a matter of, is it 4 or 5 months, I can't remember, since we got registered a political party, we now stand with 9 councillors. And there's more in the pipeline all the time. And these are people who have gone into their community and said, I want to help. I want to change the way things are. I want things to be different. Give me your back and give me your support. And that's happening because for far too long our people have said they're not going to take part, and they've left these people to change our country, and not for the better. Everybody hates it. You go into any community, any setting, into a cafe and a pub and friends in the street, into your youth club, whatever, and people are annoyed and pissed off. And it's up to you guys, every one of you here, you've got a responsibility to sell nationalism to your friends, to your family, to your neighbours, to your community, to your work colleagues. Because there's not one person here today, amongst all the families who have made me wish I wasn't here. And that doesn't happen often. I've been in the nationalist movement for 30 years. And everybody who's been in the movement for even half the time I've been will tell you, do you remember that guy? He used to turn up with his crank conspiracy theories and his homemade leaflets out of a plastic poly bag and start telling you about what we should all be doing, why we're not being successful, what we're doing wrong. Or they want to grab you in a corner and tell you how you should be doing things. We don't have that now. We've got quality people I would be proud to take home to meet my kids, to meet my family, and say, yeah, this guy's a nationalist here with me. And I know fine that you wouldn't embarrass yourselves or the party and make my family or anybody else think, I want nothing to do with these people because he's a crank or he's a nutter or he's a weirdo. And nationalism for far too long has tolerated these people. And that's what's so radically different about us. We're choosy about who's on board because we think sensible nationalism will win. And we know it is, because we have people in here who are talking with people who are on a different level of respectability than anybody in nationalism has been for decades. We're talking to people from different political parties as well. In the last few months, some of our colleagues and myself have been speaking to people in the Labour Party, people in the Liberal Democrats, people in Reform. I've been to election counts over the years where we think we've walked into a circus. When you see the lunatics and the nutters that are in the Labour Party or the SNP or the Scottish Socialist Worker Party, people like that, Scottish Socialist Party, and you think, God, these are the people we have left to become our MPs and to become our MSPs, our members of the Senate in Wales. These people are nutters. We all laugh when we look at them online, at the Green Party candidates. These men that call themselves women. I had one horrific one in Bromsgrove, where I'm from, that looked like the honey monster in a green dress. It was grim. But people, as soon as they saw that, the whole country on social media, or that's not the whole country, but every social media mocked them.
Yep.
They said, "This is lunatic. What are you doing?" And do you know what happened to that candidate? Can everybody guess what happened to that candidate?
He won.
Nope. They dropped him quietly. So even the Green Party submitted to that pressure from the public, from people, from ordinary people. And that's what happens. We've got a man in here, Si, who campaigned for about 8 months in a small town on the other side of the country from him and forced them to shut down and Asylum Seeker Hotel. That was done because he stood up, he worked with his local community, and he built a resistance in that community that made the government, made the state say, it's not worth their time doing that, and they binned him. That's the power we've got. We've got another one of our councillors who's fighting against a solar farm in his community, and it looks like these people are backing out. I'm fighting against telegraph poles and Brisk. That instead of putting the internet cables underground, they're trying to spoil a community that doesn't even have street lighting by putting these telegraph poles in. This is outrageous. If these people turn out your door, give me a call and I'll get people round and we will stop them digging a hole in front of your house. Now we're producing posters, 500 posters that we're helping to provide to the whole neighbourhood so they can put these in to protest these. I've had councillors come and say, Kenny, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're jumping the gun. You're gonna upset that company. It's a private company that's investing in our community. And I went, no. This community does not want these things here. And they backed me and they said, yeah, Kenny, lead us. Because these guys are telling us to keep quiet and just listen to the councillors and let them dictate what we're doing. There's power in every flipping one of us. I almost swore there. Put myself back from the edge there. Yeah, that's sensible nationalism for you. However, that's what it takes. It doesn't have to be always talking about immigration all the time. Nationalism for me is about fighting for your people, fighting for your community. And that could be trying to get a new doctor's surgery built, or a new school for your community with a leaky roof. You want that fixed. And community politics has revolutionised countries, has changed people. Right now in Northern Ireland, we have the Sinn Féin in power. Sinn Féin, yeah. These people and their associate murdered women and children.
Yes.
Look,
I've got a relative who's in a wheelchair now because he was serving in the British Army and was blown up in his Land Rover by these scum. Yet they're in power through community politics because they fought for their community, got them new schools, got new community centres, made sure their community were looked after. While the unionist, loyalist community didn't look after their community. I know unionist people in Northern Ireland who've gone to Republican councillors because they're effective and they do the job. The Liberal Democrats, we know, have been one of the first people in this country to promote the lowering of the age of sexual consent. That was in their manifesto back in the 90s. And it's one of the reasons their liberal progressive ideology can't get them to burst through the Tories and the Labour. But at the local level, they don't talk about these things. They fight on local issues, and they are the most successful people working with community politics in their areas. Another example is the Green Party. They've followed the Liberal Democrat script and are now building massively in council areas up and down the country. And yet, every time I look at them closely, and the guys in Scotland know this, especially where they've got MSPs.
Yep.
They are absolutely obsessed with the LGBT and woke agenda.
Yep.
They speak about that more often than they do about green issues, because they campaign locally on these things. They've built up a whole rank of councillors who campaign on community politics issues. They find out what's going on in one community and they campaign on that. So it's important for us who promote nationalism in a sensible way to realise that countrywide people have a very negative view of what nationalism is. And that's the nationalist movement's own fault. That's something that we have created for ourselves for generations. From the National Front, the BNP, the EDL, SDL, they have created a negative stereotype of nationalism we have to combat. We have to fight against that and show people that we are good people. We can make a positive impact in their community, and that's through community politics. Because if you positively impact on people's lives on a day-to-day level, they don't care that the mainstream media are calling you the F word or the N word. We're not scared of fascists, are we now? Not scared of Nazi, not scared of racist.
No.
It's nonsense. That's not what we're about. Standing up for your own people doesn't mean you're filled with hate. It means we're filled with love
Yes.
of our own people.
Yes.
We want to come back to a country that feels like this.
Yes.
What we've got now.
Exactly.
In this field, in this lovely part of England in Derbyshire, we want every person who grows up in this country to feel that they can have their community where they don't feel under threat. They don't have to worry about their daughter's safety, their boy getting stabbed in the street, their car getting broken into, or their house getting broken into. That's what we're fighting for. Something that should be the right of every man and woman in this country and every child in this country. A safe country with our own people, where we're free to say and do the things that we love. Stand up for our culture, our heritage, our identity, for our own people. So, I'm not going to hold you any longer. Again, I just want to say thank you very much for coming here. I've had an absolute blast. The sun has been hotter than a Scotsman should ever have to endure. But I've had a ball. I'm not a Slim Jim. I've eaten a lot of fantastic food. We've had excellent crack with everybody, and I hope you've enjoyed it as well. And that we all in the next year until the next camp, when we all come back again with even more. We've grown this year as we had from last year. I want to see more people, more families, more kids as well. But most importantly, I want to see everybody do whatever you can over the next year. You know, we're not asking for everybody to be, parish and district councillors. We're not asking everybody to be super activists on a week-to-week basis, but every week try and do even just a small thing. And if we all share the burden, and that can be just talking to friends and family, like I said earlier, do something every single week, and we can change this country for the better. Thank you.